Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Welcome to Jennifer's Perspective. And let's see. Today, my very special guest that will be joining me today from Houston, Texas, is the award winning marketeer and entrepreneur, Mrs. Stephanie D Mckenzie. And Stephanie has what we call, let's see. Let me just make this a little smaller. Uh, it has been a long day, girl. Now, Stephanie, Stephanie is the award-winning entrepreneur, and she has 3 decades of expertise. And she offers a lot to her clients that most coaches don't offer. In her decade of coaching, she has a 100% success rate in marital coaching, and many of her clients are not only healing, but launching their next fruitful season. Regardless of the goal in life, love, or business, Stephanie helps them to empower those who feel overwhelmed, overworked, and devalued, and to help them to heal and shift so that they can show up powerfully and live abundantly and be their own superhero. And truthfully, I can say thank you, Stephanie. This is awesome. And she is one of the few coaches in the world with the educational, spiritual, and practical expertise to guide you through healing and shifting from head to toe, inside out. You will drop the cape and you will be great. And let's get this shift together and let's unite and meet my very special guest, Miss Stephanie D. Mckenzie.
Hi.
Welcome, Stephanie.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Well,
Stephanie, it
yes.
is such a pleasure to have you here. Listen, you are awesome. You are bossing
You.
up. I'm looking at what you've been doing, and I'm saying this lady is amazing.
Mm.
Now, can you just tell us how did you get into the coaching business?
Everybody asks me that question, and then they give me this blank stare when I say never wanted to be a coach. Never. Um,
You didn't?
I didn't. I did. Now, lately I've been confessing that I became a fake coach in the early 2000s. I did. I became a fake coach. I didn't realize people had started saying coaching around that time. And so I
Mm,
thought coaching was synonymous with consultant, and I was doing consulting. So I thought I
mm,
needed to use the word in order, to be congruent with what the market wanted. And I was a fake coach because I wasn't trained, I wasn't certified, I didn't know how to engage in true coaching protocol like I do now. So I was fake
mm,
coaching. And like I said, I was only saying I was a coach because I thought it was congruent with consulting. Fast forward, I'm working with a dating site and, building the brand. And I said, you know what would be really great? And they said, what? And I said, relationship education. And I said, I'm going to go get certified because I thought
mm.
it was asinine for me to say, ooh, I'm the
Relationship.
marketing director and I teach relationship classes. I thought that was the stupidest thing ever. So I said, I'll go get certified. That'll bridge the gap. People won't be looking at me like I'm stupid. So I go get certified. The project goes defunct. I've been building the brand and social media. People are like, I really love your stuff. And I'm like, this is not the plan. This is not the plan. And I'm having these fights with the divine, right? Like, God, I'm a marketer. Award winning with that. You see that award that you helped me get? You want some more of those. See it?
Mm,
And
mm.
he's like, yeah, you done? And so eventually I was like, yeah. So I finally, because listen, I went through the certification program and I picked this asinine name for a company because nobody was ever going to see this company. I was just doing this to teach classes.
Mm.
And so then when I finally said, okay, and I think it took me a couple of years, honestly, I would just play with it and be like, yeah, okay, I'm doing it now. Are you happy now? And so when I finally got serious, that's when the name, the relationship firm came in. And then
Mm.
I wasn't satisfied. I was like, now, this is me talking to the divine. Now, you know, the relationshipfirm.com is not remotely available. That is too easy. Somebody has it. Why are you playing with me like this?
Mm-hmm.
Go to GoDaddy. The relationshipfirm.com is available. Face cracked on the floor. Okay. And now we're off to the races. And so now there is the relationship firm as well as the healing firm. And then there's a plan for a few other firms. So we're just firming all over the place.
Well, girl, you are doing a wonderful job. You're doing an amazing job. And how long have you been in business?
10 years.
10 years.
Mhm.
And what did you do before becoming a coach?
Before that, I was an award-winning marketer, business consultant, and an entrepreneur. But I'd been an entrepreneur since I was 9. So
Okay, so you had that entrepreneur spirit. Awesome,
absolutely.
awesome, awesome. Do you currently offer any programs at the moment? A 90-day, 30-day program? If people wanted to work with you and connect with you, how can they get in contact with you?
Not really. The way that we do things is, of course, we have private coaching, but then we have what we call our Hall of Heroes, which is a lower level group coaching session. If somebody just wanted to come in and kind of experience what it would be like, and it's kind of an accountability group, and they're doing their Crushing Corona challenge. But as far as private coaching, those are definitely longer commitments because we want to make sure that you're really in, because I get vested in my clients like I do. And I tell them all the time, listen, I'm going to climb in the boat with you, whatever the boat is, but I'm not climbing on the Titanic. That's not where I'm at.
I know that's right.
Okay.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Now you do relationship coaching for couples and you do one-on-one coaching sessions.
I do.
Now you do? Okay. Do you also do speaking engagements?
I do. I've been talking all week. I told you I'm tired now, but I'm happy to be here with you. But I literally, listen, Tuesday I pulled the stunt of a lifetime because I did a live at 5:15, turned right around, did a Zoom with a youth group at 6, and then 6:30, and then turned right back around and prepped my guests and had my own show at 7. And I was like,
Wow.
and I wasn't physically tired, Jennifer, because I try to take good care of me, but mentally I'm still like, why did you do that? But it's okay.
No, because you got to get it done. The thing is, like, just do it. I love that Nike slogan, just do it, just do it, just do it. And sometimes we have a tendency to procrastinate, but when you got stuff to do, just do it.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any current books or anything like that?
I just released my 7th or 8th book. I can't keep.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't keep track. Yeah.
And what can you give us a list of the titles of the book and where we can find them?
Sure, they're all on Amazon. So I have my author's page, Stephanie D Mckenzie. But the list, the first one is called The Book of Buy. And that is a book that I wrote over a weekend. We're not talking about that, though. We're not going to talk about it. I don't advise anybody to do that.
Why?
Okay, I'll tell you the story. So there was a young lady that was working for me and working with me. I don't like people to work for me. She was working with me, and she kept booking me for speaking engagements. She was going to be paid per performance. And I said, well, if you keep booking me for like radio appearances, not necessarily speaking engagements. And I was like, if you keep doing that, there's no money that comes from that, and I don't want you to keep putting forth effort and not getting compensated. So I said to her, that's okay. I'll write a book this weekend. And then when you book me for the radio, people can buy the book. It made perfect sense to me. And I did indeed write that book in a weekend. Now, it took us a couple of weeks to edit it and all that other stuff. I absolutely wrote it in a weekend. I do not advocate doing that. I love words and I love to write. But again, I don't advocate for that. But it made perfect sense to me at the time. Don't do that. And then from there, there's the business of dating. There's a book for college students called 111 Things That Every College Student Should Know. And then what's after that one? Then the business of dating again, which became an extended version with online dating. And then there's a couple of ebooks in there somewhere. And then this, and I can't even keep track. Yeah, so this most recent one is called Be Your Own Superhero, No Capes.
Okay. Okay, then, and they're all available on Amazon.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you find, like, what type of as a relationship coach, what is the area that you see most pop up within your field?
Hmm.
Like, what is like the number one thing that you find in relationships, in business relationship? There's all
Yeah.
types of relationships. So people have relationships with business, relationships, interpersonal relationship. Now, do you help them in every area, or is it just a particular area?
No, pretty much. I work with my clients to do one particular thing, no matter what they're wanting. And so, what is usually the most common is that in a relationship, we'll have the enabled and the enabler and the enabled dynamic that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But all my clients fit the same profile, and
Mm-hmm.
it is those people that have spent the majority of their life. They're fixing folks, people pleasing, and enabling the entitled. That's what they're normally doing. Be them
Mm-hmm.
single or be them coupled. And so if they're coupled, of course, then it's a question of, okay, well, then where's the balance here? Because for me, it always points back to being wounded and
Mm-hmm.
and needing to be healed in a particular area so that you can stand in your worthiness and not in your woundedness, whatever that means to you at this point. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it just really depends on them. I tell everybody I'm one of the few coaches in the world that can transform you head to toe, inside and out. That's life, love, business, healing, health, and wholeness. And so at the end of the day, it's a comprehensive type of adventure. So some
Mm-hmm.
of my clients come in and maybe they're coaches that want to level up their business. Some of them are business owners that are like, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing. Okay, great. Some of them are in a relationship that's not working. Some of them are in a relationship with themselves that's not working. Some of them want to do something for their team. In fact, I have one like that right now that wants to do some team building, team dynamics type of things. And so for me, I think everybody knows me to be synonymous with healing. And now it's all about being your own superhero because you've put that energy out to everyone else. And when you turn it into yourself, the results and the shifts will blow your mind. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people don't know that. They keep thinking, I want to get back what I'm putting out. I'm like, you'll never get that back. You'll
Mm-hmm.
only get back what you put into you. And
Exactly.
that's how you're able to be your own superhero.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. Now, what are some of the challenges that you find when it comes to, I guess, people just stepping up and stepping forward to do the work? Do you find it like challenging? Is it like pulling teeth sometimes, or
Mm-mm.
are they ready to work with you?
I won't work with you if I think it's going to be like pulling teeth. You
I
know,
know that's right.
I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to do it for you. Now, I did have a couple of instances where I was taken aback by the way a client responded to something. And that was
Mm-hmm.
sort of like, huh, I didn't realize, huh, like you didn't trigger my intuition. So maybe it was supposed to go down like that. But I was
Mm-hmm.
really taken aback because I do feel like you have to be healed enough to
Mm-hmm.
deal with a coaching relationship or even a therapy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I really remember, referring one of my clients to a therapist, my personal therapist at that, and him
Mm-hmm.
deciding he didn't want to go anymore because she was pushing him to that point. And I'm like, everything you want's on the other side of that. He didn't want to cry. He didn't want to break down. He didn't want to feel. I'm like, if you don't feel it, you can't deal with it. You can't heal from it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He didn't want that. So he
Mm-hmm.
recoiled from that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, sometimes you just don't catch it. But I do feel like there has to be a certain level of healing for you to take on being coached or going into therapy or accepting help of any kind.
Mhm, mhm,
And
mhm,
sometimes, like I said, there was a couple of instances where I didn't realize the person was not healed enough.
mhm, mhm,
And it just happened. I mean, that's just the way it happened. It's happened like that before. So I'm,
mhm,
I'm getting better.
mm.
Oh,
But it is a process. It
yeah,
is a
it is
process.
definitely a process.
Now, what type of programs do you offer? Do you offer a 6-month program, a 90-day program,
It really depends. Our program is
Mhm,
multifaceted. So it really, you come in and the first place you're going to stop is something we call our foundations experience. And there's
mhm,
another coach that facilitates that. And that
mhm,
is a series of online materials and private coaching where we set the foundation for you to work with me. You know, the things that I talk about, tracing triggers and wound worthy relationships and all of that good stuff. Well, not necessarily good, but that stuff, you know, you deal with that in foundation so that when you come to what we call level 2, no matter if you're doing, I don't know, however many sessions that you have, we do it by session, not by months.
mhm,
So you know, whatever your package is, if it's 8, 12, 20, whatever it is, then
mhm,
you're ready. Regardless,
mhm,
and everybody goes through that. I don't care what you come for, if it's business, relationship, coaching, the coach, because I really recoil from saying I'm a business coach, so to speak. But what I do,
why is that? Why?
because I often work with people who are either trying to launch or level up their business.
Ah,
And so really
exactly.
more launching. So if anything, I would call myself a launch coach, but I don't like saying I'm a business coach, even though I do that, if that makes any sense. I just don't like saying it because
Mhm,
it's all going to point back to healing. And so as
mhm,
much as I can, you know, MBA in me is like, great, we can run a profitability analysis, the marketer in me, we can look at the target audience, we can develop the brand strategy, the communication strategy, all of that, logo, the whole nine. None of it matters if you're not able to stand in worthiness. None
mhm,
of it. None
mhm.
of it matters. So you'll have this really pretty and effective looking business, but it won't be effective because you're still dealing with your own stuff. And
And
yeah,
okay,
you know what I'm saying? And I'm not,
they're listening. They're listening. They're
But
listening.
Jennifer, don't get me to telling, don't make me say to you, oh, well, you have to have all your stuff together to be a coach. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm
Mhm,
saying that in order for you to hold space for
mhm,
other people, you have to have a sense of capacity. And
mhm.
sometimes people come into coaching and maybe even being therapists in an effort to hide from their own wounds because they're so used to helping, they're going to turn outward and they're going to fix and help and all this other stuff when we need to turn inward and deal
Exactly.
with ourselves so that we have true capacity. That you know,
Mhm.
we're not trying to put holding somebody else's space on an emotional plate that's already full.
Right. Correct. 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 And I think most people don't understand that
Right.
because it takes time and it takes courage to look at yourself. And when I say look at yourself, like to really, really look at yourself, to be self-aware,
Yeah.
to search those things and to
Mm-hmm.
be honest with yourself. And I think
Mhm.
that too takes courage. And in order for people to heal, to grow, or to do anything, you have to face yourself first.
Right. You do. And that makes you better. You know, healing is an ongoing process. So it's never gonna be like
Mhm.
you healed. No. You healed that one time, now you got some new things. Yay, come on. That works. Yay. You know,
It doesn't work like that. It
I
is
mean, right. It's not like, oh,
continuous
right.
process.
You know, I always tell people the story of my tire rod breaking on my vehicle. This was years ago. And I was driving it when it happened. And, you know, it made some really interesting noises. And I pulled over. And of course, my vehicle had to be towed back to Houston.
Mhm.
I was doing like 60, 70 miles per hour headed to Austin when it broke. And so
Ooh.
we are so grateful for the grace that allowed
Mhm.
me to, you know, be able to pull it over and to
Mhm.
get help and nothing, you know, no harm, you know, befell us in that moment. However, once the tie rod was fixed, the vehicle just didn't drive right. And I went back to the mechanic and I said, hey, what's going on here? And
Mhm.
he said that you got a brand new tire rod attached to old stuff.
You can't put new wine into old
Oh, yeah,
wineskins.
because it'll
Come on,
burst.
come on, come
And
on, come
so
on.
at the end of the day, that's a lot of the challenge. That's how healing works, right? So
Mm-hmm,
you heal that tire rod, whatever your tire rod is, and that's going
mm-hmm,
to reveal other things that are like not working. So this brand new tire rod is attached to these really old, parts and everything. And so it's not jiving. So then what you got to do? You got to fix that. And so it continues. It's an ongoing thing. And so people get triggered when I talk about being healed enough to coach and being healed enough to receive coaching. And I'm
mm-hmm.
like, listen, if you're triggered, that is a neon flag from a wound yelling, hey, come heal me. Because if you're triggered by the construct of healing, okay, what does that say? If somebody says you need to be healed enough and you're triggered by that, then that's already telling me that you ain't healed enough.
Come
And
on,
so
girl.
be real with yourself. You
You
know,
have to. That,
you
oh my
have to.
gosh.
You have to be
You
real with
have
yourself,
to.
or else you end up being fraudulent to everyone else.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
I can't sit here and be who I am and say I wrote a book called Be Your Own Superhero. It's called No Capes, and I'm still caping. That would be a little,
That would be that. I think that would be considered what? Fraud?
hypocrisy, fraud.
If hypocrisy,
Yeah,
fraud, and you're lying to yourself. And I think,
basically,
yes, and
basically,
you can't. You have
no.
to really get honest and and to move forward, you have to get honest, like
Yeah,
real. You got to get real.
yeah,
And then once you get real, then you have to have the courage to move forward.
right.
And I sit there and I say to myself, like, okay, then
Mm-hmm.
make
Mm-hmm.
a decision. What is it that you want to do? And
Mm-hmm.
are are you willing? I tell my clients all the time, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to do the inner work that it takes to move
Mm-hmm.
forward?
Right.
And some say yes, some say no, some start with me and they're like, okay, I'm ready. And then you have those that, and then they just drop off. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, then
that
they're
happens.
not ready. And if they're not ready, there's nothing that you, me, or anyone else could do. And I'm
Nope.
saying to myself, look, okay,
Mhm.
this is because it's real life. You're dealing
Right.
with yourself, and you are the most precious being. To me, I'm the most precious thing.
That's right. That's right. I mean, that's the truth, I mean, something I had Dr. Dennis, Dr. D.A. Dennis was on the show last Tuesday. In fact, this Tuesday that I did all the crazy stuff with the 5, 6, and the 7. Yeah. And he said something as it relates to his clients, because he's a holistic life counselor. And he
Hmm.
said, he asked the question, are you 100% dissatisfied with your life at this point? Are you
Hmm.
100%? Not 98, not 99, not, well, 50-50. Well, he's like, are you 100% dissatisfied? And I told him, I said, we're probably going to start using that. I'm going to give you credit,
Hmm.
the Dr. D.A. Dennis with what is it? Mastery Beyond Boundaries.
Hmm.
Amazing guest. Like he had kept me in stitches all night, but 100% dissatisfied. And I think what happens a lot of times is that people come into this coaching, this helps environment, the healing arts or whatever, with a magical mindset. And that's what I call it. When you
But
think
that's delusional.
yeah,
That's not that's delusional. That's delusional.
and it's nothing we can do with that. If somebody's coming in thinking that you're going to wave a magic wand and all of their ills are going to go away,
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
think for me, recognizing that some people had that was good, because sometimes you think, oh well, yeah, they're coming and they're ready. Yeah, they might be ready, but they're not prepared, and those are two different things.
Hmm. Hmm.
Two totally different things.
Teach
And
them.
yeah, I'm like, listen.
Listen, there's a part, the preparation phase. The preparation phase. Oh my gosh. And you
Mm,
can't skip that. You can't skip the preparation phase, because now this is, if you want to move forward into the next thing,
Mm-hmm.
Are you prepared?
Most people aren't. Most people aren't. You know, that it's just like the woman that says, "I'm ready to be married." Are you? Are you just ready for a wedding? Are you prepared to be a wife? Are you really legitimately
That
prepared to be
takes
a wife?
commitment. It takes commitment. It takes a lot.
It
Trust
does.
me.
It takes
It
a lot.
it
It
takes.
takes a lot. It gives a lot. It shifts a lot. You know, you got a lot of single married women running around here because
Okay, come on now.
they don't they somebody taught them that a man is supposed to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm not saying that he's not, but they don't understand the construct of the vulnerability that allows us to move from relationship to partnership. And a
Hmm.
lot of them are not doing it. They're not. They're like, I want a partner. He won't be my partner. I'm like, if you don't listen, if you don't let a man, if you want him to be a man, you got to let him. You can't try to write, direct, produce, and star and co-star in every move that he makes, and then talk about he's not my partner.
Listen, in order for you to be a partner with someone, two people have to be walking in the same or moving in the
That's
same
right.
direction.
That's
You
right.
understand what I'm saying? And you can't be going this way and the other person going this way. You
That's right.
have to be in agreement
That's
and
right.
in alignment. Other than that, you're not in a partnership.
That's right.
And I sit there and I tell people that, and people say, like, why do you say that? Because you can't, one can't be doing this and one can't be doing that. You
Right.
have to be in agreement.
That's right. That's so right.
And if, like, okay, we can agree to disagree. Okay, I get it. We can agree to disagree, but we still have to be in an agreement to
Yeah.
agree to disagree.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to be in some agreement. And the agreement can't be, well, you do everything that I want and then yay you. Like that's so not how this works.
Yeah, but then that's lopsided. That's not even realistic. Is it people think that you can give 10% and I'll give 90%. No, it's 100%, 150% commitment to the process,
That's
to the
right.
relationship. And you have to like I say it all the time. Are you all in? Because I'm all in for me.
Yeah.
And I'm all in. I am. I'm all in for me. And I had to be all in for me. Coming from where I was coming from
Mm-hmm.
and the stuff that I had been through, I had never been for me all in ever. But
Mm,
when I made that decision, I had to be all in for me. Now, if I'm in a relationship with my partner, my life partner, I'm all in for us.
that's,
And people say, like, what do you mean? Because you cannot be half in and half out, like one foot in and one foot out the door. You can't do that. You
mm-mm.
can't do that.
You really can't. I mean, you can,
You
but
can, but
what are you
what
going
are
to
you
get?
it's like the people of Israel going around the mountain, around the mountain, around the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and
Uh-huh.
you don't get anything.
No.
I'm, that's why I tell people don't rush into anything. Do what you have to do, study, take your time. And
Yeah.
when it comes to life altering decisions, think carefully.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Think carefully. But once you make that commitment, commit to it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Mhm.
But I think some people don't even know what it means to commit. I think we've gotten so lopsided and I think a lot of times we're afraid. And I'm like, if you're afraid of being vulnerable with this person, if you feel like you're not in a safe space, why are you marrying them? Why are
Oh,
you doing anything with them?
excuse me, can I get
Right.
a
I
ring?
remember sitting in a session telling this one young lady, and she's like, he doesn't do this, and he doesn't do that, and he doesn't do this, and he doesn't do that, and we're not married yet. And I said, give him back his ring.
I know
Because
that's right.
I mean, you gave me 18 complaints.
Hmm.
Why do you want him?
Hmm.
He's sitting there too. I'm like, why do you want him? Give him back his ring.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because you're about to set everybody up for failure. Because marriage is a magnifier. I need everybody to know this. Whatever's good is going to get magnified, and whatever ain't good is going to get magnified. So if you
And
don't love it, good luck and Godspeed. In Jesus' name.
but it's the truth. And listen, and that is what people need. They need to be honest and they need to be real, because a lot of people say, okay, then I want help or I need help. But when the help shows up, now it's like,
When I said help, I really meant innate.
That's like the person drowning and God sends what? God sends the boat, he sends the helicopter and sends everything else, and then the person ends up dying, and then when he gets to heaven he goes, well, God, I thought you was going to come and get me. No, God says, listen, I sent you all this help.
Right.
And because we have a tendency to put God in a box, to keep ourselves in a box, to keep our just people in boxes. And I think if we would just take the limit off of ourselves.
Yes.
And my motto is, it is possible. All things are possible, but are you willing to do what it takes?
That is the question.
It is. Now, as a speaker, what is the area that you speak in most? Like, what area okay, say that I'm requesting. Listen, Steph, come on, Steph. If I'm requesting you to come and speak at an event, okay, what is your area of specialty? Or do you have like three different areas, 4 different areas, or is it one particular area?
I mean, I guess if you were looking, I'm literally running back. What's on that speaker sheet? Relationship, business, student market, and I think general empowerment. You know, most people just say, Stephanie, can you speak to our group about this? And I'll say, sure. This is what it's going to cost. And they'll either say, okay, or not. So, you know, I never really have to. I mean, yeah, I guess sometimes I put the speaker sheet out, but I mean, ultimately they know what they want. So I'm just like, yeah, I can speak on that. Or if I can't, then I'll say, no, that's not really my area, but then I can refer them to somebody else. So most people come with a preconceived notion of what they want. And
right.
So from there.
Awesome. Let's see. We have like another 6 minutes. Do you have any golden nuggets for us?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see. Golden nuggets for you guys. See, you put me on the spot. They just don't fall out, Jennifer. My goodness.
Come on.
Well, you know, I think that we are definitely living in a season where it's super important that we recognize who we are and that we stop allowing the excuse to be the excuse. Like, how long are you going to let the excuse be the excuse? I haven't done it because, well, you know, and I'm
stop
like,
the excuses.
Yeah, just stop and decide that no matter what the situation is, whatever changes you have to make, whatever you need to release, that you are worth that. You know, and stop dwelling and accepting mediocre when greatness is actually your divine birthright. You know, it's something that I always like to say is that we were created to live a life that's whole and abundant on earth. Not in this life.
In this life.
And so if you're looking at your life and you're saying, my goodness, like I'm missing some things, something's obviously missing, something obviously is broken. If you don't have more than enough, then you're not walking in your divine identity. You're just not. And so the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? That's all. I mean, that's the bottom line. And if you decide that you need help, then do that. Like, we've got to normalize getting help. We can't continue to say, well, you know, I would, but yeah. No, we can't continue to do that. We need to normalize asking for help, getting help, you know, not letting the thought processes around, oh, I'm airing my dirty laundry. And that's what's keeping you stuck. And the people that told you this, God bless Mama and Dear and Mud Dear and all of them, but they've gone on.
You gotta learn to let that stuff go, because that is extra. What do you call it?
Back.
That's like, yes, yes.
And they've gone on. They're
Mhm,
living wherever they've gone on to, that's where they are. And so
mhm.
right now in the 21st century, many of us are navigating our lives with blindfolds and flashlights. I'll just let that.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Excuse me.
right. How does that even work?
Excuse me.
What was the movie Bird Box or something about birds and Sandra Bullock where they had to be blindfolded? I don't remember what it was.
I saw that movie. That was
I didn't see
actually
it.
real.
Everybody was like, "This is insane," but I'm like, "Okay, all right." But I didn't see
You
it. But a lot of times, I feel like people are navigating through life, blindfolded with flashlights, and
Mhm.
and really feeling confident in the fact that they are blindfolded, but they got a flashlight. And it's like, but honey, you can't see.
Mm-mm.
And many times ego stops us, unhealthy ego stops us from seeking help and
Mm.
and finding some place where we can be motivated and recharged and refueled and redirected and guided. We allow our ego to say, no, you don't need that. You don't need to go get that. And I'm like, kill the ego. Ego death is real. Kill the ego. Okay. It's time. It's time to live a whole and abundant life. That's what it's time to do.
It
Anything
is.
else is not. Anything else is not for you. It's time to be whole and
Girl, it's time. It's time. What is my favorite word? My sister, me and my sister, we be laughing. I'll be like, she be like, Jennifer, you ain't got no time for the shenanigans. I'm like, nope,
no shenanigans. Nope.
no shenanigans. I don't have time for the shenanigans, because I know who I am.
That's right.
I know who I am. I know what I want. I know what I need. And I know that, listen, and I know where I'm headed.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that. That is why I really do recommend that people do get a life coach, get a business coach,
Yeah.
get the support that you need so that you can get clarity on what it is that you want out of life, what it is that you want in life, and so that you can have some kind of direction. And I
Mm-hmm.
sit down and I say to myself, okay, then
Yep.
but
You know what? You know what? And I'll tell you the truth, Jennifer. I'm always my first and best client. Always.
you better be.
I'm always my first and best client. And so that's a question, for people that are, if you're really looking for someone to invest in, if you're really looking for somebody that you want to know if they can possibly be the help that you need, then ask,
You have to look to you first.
yeah, what are you doing with yourself? Like ask the person, like, I mean, how do you work on yourself? How do you, and you want somebody that's going to tell you, listen, I do X, Y, and Z. I'm invested in this, because you don't want to invest in somebody who is also not investing in themselves. There's a lot of wounded healers, but a
It
healing
is.
counselor is what you want. You want a healing counselor. You want a healing coach, someone who is actively pursuing their own wholeness on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anything else is futile. Anything else is mute. And so again, but we've got to normalize seeking help and realize
Mm-hmm.
that we don't need to do this all by ourselves, because your ego is telling you to.
But sometimes you have to do that, because sometimes I remember when I started my healing journey and God restored me back
Mhm,
to my family.
mhm,
And I'm like, okay. And then I started to depend on them too much. And they
yeah,
moved to Pennsylvania. I followed them to Pennsylvania.
mm,
And I was commuting back and forth, back and forth. And eventually I thought I was going to live there, like live in Pennsylvania,
yeah.
but I couldn't get a job in that state.
Hmm.
So I ended up commuting for 3 years
Oh wow.
from Pennsylvania to New Jersey. And then finally, God dropped it in my spirit,
Mhm,
time to move. And I'm
mhm.
saying to myself, oh my God. And I had like I had my moment where once I accepted it, once I accepted it, I said to
Mhm.
myself, and I just had like a really big cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once I dried my eyes and
Mhm.
released it and let it go, I ended up getting an apartment like 6 minutes from where I ended up working, and I've been living here in this state now for like 8 years.
Okay.
But accepting certain things, and
Yeah.
this is where I find a lot of people have the challenge, is that you have to accept. Once you accept it, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this
Mhm.
is like, okay, like are
Mhm.
you ready to make that move? And I realized that, like, okay, then. This was where my coaching journey started. Once I made that decision to move back to New Jersey, my coaching just started to just it
Mhm.
picked up, the business picked up, the people started showing up, this started happening, that started happening. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God, like, okay, I did make the right decision. And I'm
Absolutely.
saying to myself, okay, then this is a good thing. But people need to be honest with themselves.
Absolutely. At all times, even when it hurts, even if you cry, even if you
Ain't
yell,
that
even
something?
if you scream. Just be honest. My goodness.
I'm saying to myself, like, okay, then, like, now people say to me, like, aren't you in a relationship? I'm like, do you know how many years I was in school just to get those things because I was busy working on me?
That's right.
After all of that mess and hell that I had been through, it is going to take time. I need to get to that level
Yeah.
of where people, I'm like, God's working on him and he's working on me, and
Mhm.
when time comes, when the time is right, you understand, but I
Mhm.
can't force something
No,
just to be in a relationship. And I
no.
sit there all the time, I'm saying to myself, I can't force, like, people like, oh, Jennifer, you should be this. No, I shouldn't be.
No.
Right where I'm at right now is
Well,
where I'm supposed to be,
right.
because I look, no time for the shenanigans. I have work to do, and that is, let me help as many people as I can while I'm helping myself. And when the time is correct and when the time is right, I'm like, okay.
That's
But
beautiful.
I've learned to value me, value my time,
That's right.
value the things that I want, and the things that I need. And I didn't realize that this podcast would be so important to me. I didn't realize that becoming a coach would be that important to me, but
Yeah.
it really is. It really is. And I love every minute of it. I love the interacting with the
Mhm.
people. I love coaching. And then I love to see the result.
Absolutely. That's me too.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yes, like, I love to see people excel, and I love to see them draw out the excellence and just like make that shift. And yeah, I'm like, okay, then. And now I have a purpose in life so
Mhm.
that I don't have to sit there and wonder why. When I wake up with a purpose. I know what it is that I'm going to do and what it is that I want to do. And I set my intention. And I'm like, okay, when it's time to rest, I rest.
Yep. I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Do
with you.
you enjoy the speaking? Because you were in marketing, and all of a sudden, this just, like, it's a divine calling.
Mhm.
And were you resistant to the calling at
Of
first?
course. No, it's a beautiful part of my story. Everybody want to do this or what? Like,
Wait a
I'm
minute,
enjoying my
Stephanie.
marketing life. I didn't want to do this.
Stephanie,
I didn't
really?
want to do this.
That is an honest answer.
I didn't want to
You
do
were
this.
resistant to the calling, huh?
How many people are into their calling? Think about anybody who's ever been called into something. Have they ever been like, "Woo, this is awesome"? Like, no,
No.
no,
Mm-mm.
no, not
Nope.
nobody, not
No.
nary one, as the old people say, not nary one. Nobody's excited about that. And like, I know, I don't want people thinking like, oh my goodness, God chose me to be a coach. No, it wasn't necessarily that I was chosen. Like, this was the path. I just didn't know it. I had mapped out my own path. And as we often do in our humanity, I had mapped out a path. The path being shown to me was not the path I had planned for me. And so I had a little bit of resistance. Sure did. And I own that completely, because that in itself is a part of the narrative. So.
And what was it that actually made you surrender to that? To like, okay,
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. It just resistance. There's a Star Trek: The Next Generation. There's a alien group called the Borg, and the Borg told Captain Picard that resistance is futile. And so, as I was kicking and screaming, and I'm not this, and I'm not that, and what in the world am I supposed to do with this? At some point, I just figured out resistance is futile. And so even then I did it, but I was playing with it, okay, fine, I'll do it. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. But it took a minute. It took a minute for it to sit in, because I'm like, what is this? This is such a departure from everything. Like, what is this? Like, what have you gotten into? And so, yeah, I didn't want to be here. Didn't want to do it.
You have such a wonderful personality. Oh my gosh. And you're very expressive and assertive, and you're clear and concise, and yes.
Oh, well, thank you. This animation is earning me some wrinkles that I don't necessarily want, but we're going to work on it. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm just, black don't crack, but it will wrinkle. Just a skunk.
That's why you have to take care of yourself. You
always
really have to take care of yourself.
Always.
You have to take care of yourself.
Like,
now, let's see. I think we have 3 more minutes. And on that, if people wanted to connect with you and to network or to work with you as a client, how would they get in contact with you?
Absolutely. The easiest way to find me is go to StephanieDMckenzie.com. D is in dog. Stephanie D Mckenzie, MCK. It's right down there. MCKENZIE.
You see it, Stephanie D Mckenzie.
There it is.
Okay. And are you on LinkedIn? On Instagram?
I am. Same name. Instagram is Stephanie D Mckenzie. Twitter is Stephanie DM, and Facebook is Coach Stephanie DM. But yeah, I'm real easy to find. I'm easy to Google, but do not try to find me as Stephanie Mckenzie. That is a white girl in Canada. That is not me. Sorry. Not me.
Oh my gosh, you're really refreshing, very refreshing. Now, on that note, let's see, and just give us the link to the to your website.
Sure. www.Stephanie D as dog Mckenzie, MCKEN as in Nancy, Z as in zebra, IE.com.
Okay, Miss Mckenzie, thank you so much, sis. Thank you. Honor and respect. And thank you for taking the time to speak with me. And thank you so much for the positive energy. And it's like, okay, we're going to do this now. And let's get it done.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, thank you so much. And I'm going to send you a message, but thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I'll send you a copy of this, of this. I guess, give me like what, one day?
Take your time.
Okay.
I know sometimes when we do it, it'll come in but immediately, but then sometimes I had one instance where it took a couple of days. So it was kind of weird. I couldn't download it right after the show. So,
okay then. All righty. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.